Lex Aviation back at it again. This was a recap review. I'm doing a review. I did a review. My last review, these pieces were in it. But I did them close to the end because some of them were surprises. You know, I like to have surprises in my reviews. Save the best for the last. But I think these three pieces didn't get the recognition and the spotlight they deserve. So I decided to go ahead and do an independent review on these three pieces. Most of you are familiar with them, some are not. But any case scenario, let's get them reviewed. This was my last unboxing over the weekend, and I ran out of time, so I kind of pushed these in the end, neglecting the full stacks and the logistics of these crafts. Let's start off with the Concord. Concord, amazing piece. A lot of individuals just seen these at museums or don't know too much about it. But this magnificent aircraft was part of our supersonic passenger airline flight into the late 70s into the 80s. And last flight, I believe, was in 2000. I actually knew of an individual that took the last flight on the Concorde. His dream was to fly across the pond, as they call it, from Heathrow to JFK on a regular flight and fly back on the Concorde. The reason why I know of in the airline industry for so long. I remember the escort the Concorde got and a priority because unfortunately he had an epileptic seizure the night before his flight after visiting New York. Him and his, I should say, buddy or colleague or best friend, and they had separate rooms, and waiting in a lobby for him. Checkout time, well, they had an early checkout for their flight, and he was concerned because you know, it's a great event. So security and management went up to the room, and I learned that they found him deceased in the room. He had an epileptic seizure. But he had his dream. He flew back on the Concorde. But not in this realm, in a different realm. But anyway, I remember, I think I was number 15 or 16 in line for 27 left, and that was one of the dozen to last flights that the Concorde took out of JFK when I got the experience. The wake turbulence behind the Concorde, if you are positioning and holding or lining up and wait, as we say, you have to be very vigilant in crunch time. And if the air traffic controller that's handling the desired runway for takeoffs is advanced and knowledgeable of the wake turbulence of the Concorde, there'd be a lapse between takeoffs behind it. But her distortion is no joke. And just think about 3 to 4 F-16s or F-14s, or, I mean, I'm gonna just keep it simple. I'm not gonna say F-22s or more of the modern fighters, but jet wash is jet wash. I mean, you got more powerful engines, but just imagine taking off behind 3 to 4 fighter jets. If those that know what I'm talking about. Stability control is not going to be too pleasant for you. It'll be like flying through level 3 CATs. Anyway, let's get this review started that I want to do on the Concord and E-3B Sanctuary, and then also the E-4B. This is an amazing piece. I didn't give her the recognition she deserves. Alright, so starting off with the Concord. This particular piece, livery British Airways, construction number 204, registration George, Bingo, O'Hara, Alpha, Charlie. The engines on the Concord was 4 Rolls-Royce Olympics 592 MKs, 610 turbojets with afterburn. I remember hearing afterburn many times. And if you're in the older craft with not too much installation and soundproof, you would hear the sonic boom. The rollout date for this particular craft was February 27, 1975. Delivery date was a year later, on February 13, 1976. All right. Her cruising speed is 1,345 miles per hour. It's like Mach 6.2, if you want to think about it. The range is 4,090 miles. Seating capacity, flat 100. All right. The Concord history dates back to 1957, with the French government called upon the aircraft makers of said aviation, Dislet, Nord Aviation, and the state airlines Air France, to develop the world's first supersonic airliner, not to be outdone by the French. This is so thin, they try to fit everything in, almost 2 paragraphs. Great Britain had its own supersonic transport in the makings, which has been designed by British Aircraft Corporation and Hawker. The two governments merged their accomplishments on November 29, 1962, and came up with the Concord, a Gallo-French project which was to be named the Concord. Where are we at? The prototype aircraft first rolled out December 11, 1967, with the first flight occurring on March 2nd, 1969. Unfortunately, Concord came at a time when fuel prices soared and the world's economy was, I have to laugh because our fuel prices was no joke. Imagine if they, I don't know, I can only imagine what their fuel prices was, and they're complaining compared to what we're complaining about. Soared, and the world's economy was an expected downturn. During the same time, many carriers had overextended themselves with purchasing of the wide-body airlines. Finally, environmental issues associated with Concords. I'm reading from the phone because it's so thin. Where we at? All of these factors results in only 13 sales. 7 units to British Airways and 6 to Air France. When the first 2 aircraft entered service on January 21st, 1976. I'm losing my focus here. But anyway, that's about the Concord. I really want to read more about the E-4B. But let's take a look at this girl here. A lot of people don't notice unless you're lined up with her. She's a massive craft, even though she looks narrow body. But the structure integrity of this airframe is, you know, if we put it up nose to nose with the 47, and this is a 47 200. If you put them up nose to nose, pretty much the same height. So the Concorde wasn't I mean, most planes, for instance, the 707, let's act like this was an airliner, which just actually is a replica of an airliner, just modified it to military modifications. If you look at the 707, it's like a baby composed to most of our jets. This was considered a wide body, you know, this is considered a jumbo jet at the time. Not a jumbo, but it's considered a heavy. I mean, just like our cars today are more bigger, more wider. But for its date and time, in its era, the Concorde was a massive piece of aerodynamic machinery. She held her own. I mean, her presence was definitely known when she was on a lineup. And depending on the craft you were in, if you were in a 2.7 or 3.7 or even a 5.7, you were under her. She was massive. You can't tell unless you see her in real life, unless you know. But this is a beautiful piece. Gemini jets, British Airways, and Air France, and BOC was the main carriers that had the Concorde. Beautiful piece there. Those power plants are no joke. This is actually for tail strike, preventive tail strike. And as I stated in the review, believe it or not, the nose and the whole section of the front fuselage, which includes the cockpit, will actually descend about a 30-degree angle so the crew can see the tarmac and the runway and the taxiways and maneuver around the airport, you know, accordingly. Because there was a huge visual instruction when she was upright. It was only meant to be in that position for takeoff. But that's the Concorde, girls and boys. This is a beautiful mold by Gemini Jets. I'm glad I got this piece. And it should be displayed soon. I have a nice British Airways collection, so I'll line up with one. I think I'll save it for when I do my British Airlines collection. Alright, let's move on. Next we have the E-4B. Now this wonderful piece of aerodynamic machinery, the 747, is a 747-200. And after putting away the last review models, you know, I like to look at the boxes and also adore the pieces. I don't think she got the full extent of the recognition she deserves. This is a beautiful mold. Beautiful piece from Gemini Jets. I mean, look at that detail there. Everything is exquisite. The antennas, real life. You see her in display. And she's still in operation. I believe we have 4 of them. Look at that. I'll get to the stacks of why you see all this type of equipment on it. But to why I want this is one of the reasons why I want to redo this review for this piece. This is the most expensive operational aircraft in the United States Air Force arsenal, which being every time she flies, no other craft in our arsenal costs so much per hour to maintain as this Boeing. I shouldn't say Boeing, but E-4B. It's not a typical 7.4. I mean, a lot of things have been modified. Even the power plants today. This is like the B-52. Even though she's old, I mean, she's very advanced. The only thing that's not advanced about this aircraft is the aerodynamics. to analog, and I'll explain to you why when I go through the stacks. But as I stated in my earlier reviews, the beautiful thing about Gemini jets is this beautiful package that they put together, where you can actually read the tutorial and be educated about the aircraft. Now I was doing that, so you know what, this deserves another review. Anyway, let's put her there. The wings, well, forget about the wingspan. The cruising speed is average 555 miles. The range is 6,200 nautical miles. It's powered by the 4GE CFC6. But let me go through the stacks here. The Boeing E-4 Advanced Airborne Command Post with the project name Nightwatch is a strategic command and control military aircraft operated by the United States Air Force. The E-4 series was specifically modified from the Boeing 747-200B. The E-4 serves as a surveyable mobile command post for the National Command Authority, namely the President of the United States, the Secretary of Defense, and successors. The 4 E-4Bs are operated by the 1st Airborne Command and Control Squadron of the 55th Wing, located at Orford Air Force Base near Omaha, Nebraska. And E-4B is designated a national airborne operational center when in action. The E-4B is designed to survive an EMP with systems intact and has state-of-the-art direct fire countermeasures. Although many older aircraft have been upgraded with glass cockpits, the E-4 still use traditional analog flight instruments as they are less susceptible to damage from EMP blasts. The E-4B is capable of operating with a crew of up to 112 people. That's impressive. 112 people. And another thing I forgot to mention, this particular craft has 3 decks, 3 operational decks. Now most people know the 47 has 2 decks, the first class and the flight crew, and main cabin. And then if you think about it, it's really 4 stories. The 47 is 4 stories high. From ground to gear, that's 1 story. From bottom of fuselage to midsection, that's cargo hold, that's 1 story. Main cabin to ceiling of the secondary floor is 1. So if you think about it, yeah, the cargo hold, if this is a military craft for that type of operation, what do you need cargo for? So moving on, as they are less susceptible to damage from EMP blasts, it's capable of operating a crew of 112, including flight and mission personnel, the largest crew of any aircraft in the United States Air Force history. So again, another stack is this craft has the largest crew in any aircraft in our arsenal. With in-flight aerial refueling, it is capable of remaining airborne for a considerable period of time. In a test flight for endurance, the aircraft remained airborne and fully operational for 35.4 hours. However, it was designed to remain airborne for a full week in the event of emergency. It takes 2 fully loaded KC-135 tankers to fully refuel in an E-4. The E-4 has 3 operational decks, upper, middle, and lower. The E-4 is the most expensive aircraft in the Air Force inventory to operate, even more than the B-2 stealth bomber. The cost is $155,000 US dollars per flight hours. So if you do the math, those 34 hours that this plane flew, wow. And they say money is real. Anyway, that's the E-4 B. Give you another view of it. Amazing piece here. Oops. Got my hands wet. Amazing piece, folks. Beautiful. She's heavy. Love the antennas, the details, everything is amazing on this craft. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I got tons of pieces for you folks. But she's amazing. And the last one, I don't have the stacks about the E-3 Sanctuary. But every time F-117 Nighthawk is in the air, this is in the vicinity, you won't see it directly. She'll probably have a higher altitude, but she's no further than 15 to 20 nautical miles away from its operational flight path. Beautiful. This is by Dragon Wings. I have a nice military collection. Once I get the airport squared away a little bit more, I'll set that up along with the cargo section. Add another taxiway. Anyway, I want to do another review for these pieces. These three in particular, I don't think they got the recognition they deserve. Let me know what you think. Stay tuned for the next airport update. I think this week into next weekend, I'm gonna take out my I finished with my loose models that I told you guys about. So I think stay tuned. I'll be doing a lot of my pieces, but I think next will be my I'm gonna do my Delta collection, I believe. My favorite airlines that I possess and delivery and everything is American, but the largest, I believe the largest fleet that I have in my collection is Delta. All right, let me know what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe, folks.